All right, welcome back, everyone. We've got a fresh stack of XR news to paw through today.
Can't wait. Always love a good deep dive.
Me too. So today's spotlight is on Pimax. You know, those folks known for their wide field of view headsets.
Ah, yes, Pimax, pushing those pixels.
Well, they just snagged a cool $13.6 million in funding.
Not too shabby.
Nope, brings their total to, wait for it, $82.7 million.
Ooh, that's a considerable chunk of change. But in the world of XR, it's actually pretty lean compared to, giants like Meta.
Right. It makes you wonder, what are they planning to do with all that cash?
Let's dig in and find out.
First up, expansion plans. Pimax wants to beef up their R&D teams, specifically in the US and Europe. Interesting, because 80% of their sales are already outside of China.
Focusing on international markets. Makes sense, though.
How so?
Well, Pimax's core audience, they're the tech enthusiasts, the ones who crave those high-end specs. They're not chasing the mass market, not yet anyway. So, bolstering international R&D, it's a signal, showing they're serious about staying ahead of the VR tech curve.
Smart move. Keep those hardcore fans happy. Speaking of keeping people happy, let's talk about the Dream Air headset.
Oh, yeah. Their foray into the slim and light arena, coming out May 2025, right?
That's the one.
Yeah.
And it has this optional standalone compute unit called Cobb. Intriguing, huh?
Definitely. It's like they're trying to bridge the gap, offering power and portability. A perfect blend, perhaps.
We'll see. But before we get too excited, we've got to talk about the elephant, or should I say the cat, in the room. Their new payment model.
Oh, the one causing all the chat.
The very same.
Yeah.
So you buy the headset,
Right.
at a lower price, but then after a 14-day trial, you got to cough up more dough to keep using the software.
Ah, the pay-to-play approach. Bold move.
Bold indeed. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, it's a gamble, that's for sure. On the one hand, it could make high-end VR more accessible, tempting those who are hesitant because of the price tag. But some users might feel a little, shall we say, nickel and dimed, especially if those software fees are hefty.
Yeah, Pimax needs to find that sweet spot. Appeal to a wider audience, but not alienate their loyal fans. Tricky.
Absolutely, a tightrope walk. Speaking of tricky, let's not forget about the Dream Air's release date, May 2025. That, coupled with the delayed release of the Crystal Super headset.
You're right. The Crystal Super was supposed to launch Q4 2024, but got pushed to Q1 2025.
It makes you wonder if Pimax might be biting off more than they can chew. They've got this history of, announcing shiny new toys before the older ones are even out the door.
So is that ambition, or are they overstretching?
Tough to say, but it definitely raises some questions.
Questions we're going to explore right after this quick break. And we're back. All right, let's purr in a bit closer on these two headsets. Starting with the Dream Air, what specs have people buzzing?
Well, first off, the Dream Air rocks dual 2,560 by 2,560 LCD panels per eye.
Whoa, that's a mouthful.
Right, and a refresh rate up to 120 hertz.
Pretty impressive, gotta admit, especially compared to their older models. But I gotta ask, how do those LCD panels stack up against the Crystal Super's QLED display? I mean, QLED is supposed to have better color and contrast, right?
Yeah, you're right. QLED usually wins on color accuracy and those deep blacks. Makes for a more vibrant experience, for sure.
So it seems like Pimax is choosing a wider field of view over visual fidelity this time around.
It does seem that way. They're prioritizing that wide field of view with the Dream Air, which is why they went with LCDs to achieve it.
Interesting trade-off. Guess we'll have to wait and see how those LCDs perform in real-world use.
Exactly. The proof is in the pudding, or should I say the pixels.
Yeah, well said. Okay, now onto the Cobb compute unit. This little guy turns the Dream Air into a standalone headset, right?
Yep, powered by the Snapdragon XR2 Gen 2 chipset.
So freedom from the PC, that's got to be appealing to some folks.
Definitely, especially for casual users or anyone who wants to, roam free without being tethered.
But can the XR2 Gen 2 really keep up with a dedicated gaming PC?
That's the big question. It's capable, no doubt, but it might not deliver the same raw power as a beefy PC. Could mean a trade-off, maybe a dip in visual quality or performance for those super demanding VR experiences.
Pimax has a tough balancing act ahead of them, keeping both the casual crowd and the hardcore enthusiasts happy.
No kidding. Now, let's switch gears and talk about the Crystal Super.
Yeah?
It's been delayed, yes, but it's got those QLED optical engines everyone's been raving about. What's the deal with those?
Yeah, what makes them so special?
Well, they're designed to deliver exceptional clarity. QLED tech is known for its vibrant colors and deep blacks, so in theory, the Crystal Super should offer a really rich and immersive visual experience.
Sounds perfect.
Oh.
So Maybe the delay means Pimax is taking their time, making sure the Crystal Super lives up to the hype?
Could be. Making high-density QLED displays for VR, it's not easy. It's a complex process, probably part of the reason for the delay. They probably want to get it right. Rushing a product like this could be a disaster.
Makes sense. Better to be safe than sorry. Okay, but while we wait, let's circle back to the Dream Air and its unique payment model. Some folks are a bit hesitant, understandably.
I get it. It's a big change from the usual buy it outright model.
So, remind us, how does this pay-to-play thing work exactly?
Well, the upfront cost is lower, that's the hook. But after a 14-day trial, you've got to pay extra if you want to keep using the software.
So imagine this. You snag the Dream Air, excited about the lower price. You test it out, 2 weeks of VR bliss, then bam, decision time. Pay up or pack it up. What would make you open your wallet?
Good question. For me, it boils down to a few things. First, how much are those software fees? Are they reasonable? Then, what am I actually getting for my money? What content? What features? Finally, how does it compare to other headsets out there? Is it a good deal overall?
Transparency is key, for sure. Pimax needs to be upfront about the value you get for those ongoing payments. Otherwise, people might feel tricked like they got lured in with a low price, only get hit with surprise costs later.
Totally agree. And remember, this could be a game changer for VR, but only if it's done right. User experience has to be top priority.
All right, so summing things up, Pimax, bold moves, big ambitions, but a history of hiccups. What should our listeners keep in mind if they're thinking about getting a Pimax headset?
It's a tough one, right? On one paw, you have these exciting new headsets pushing the boundaries, but on the other, there's that history of delays and now this whole new payment model.
Exactly. It's a bit of a gamble, no doubt.
So what's your take? What should our listeners consider if they're eyeing a Pimax headset?
Well, first off, I'd say know yourself. Are you the kind of cat who loves being on the cutting edge, the one who's willing to, take a chance on something new and exciting?
The early adopter, the trailblazer.
Precisely. If that's you, Pimax might be right up your alley. But if you value reliability, a proven track record, maybe a more established ecosystem.
You want that peace of mind.
Exactly. Then you might want to look at other options. Think Meta, HTC, those sorts of companies. Solid advice. It's all about finding the right fit, balancing innovation with, well, not getting your tail in a knot.
Yeah, well said.
But let's zoom out for a second. Pimax is definitely trying to shake things up in the XR world. High-end specs, innovative features, and now this interesting payment model. Could this have ripple effects throughout the whole industry?
Absolutely. They're pushing the envelope, that's for sure. Their focus on visual fidelity, on creating truly immersive experiences, it could light a fire under other manufacturers.
A little friendly competition never hurt anyone.
Exactly. And in the end, it's the consumers who benefit.
More choices, better tech, everybody wins.
Now, that payment model, that's a whole other can of worms. Could be a game changer, could be a flop. But it's definitely making waves, and it might just influence how VR hardware and software is priced down the line.
Fascinating stuff. It's like watching a kitten pounce on a laser pointer. You never know which way they'll jump.
Haha, that's a great analogy. But seriously, Pimax is a company to watch. They're bold, they're ambitious, and even if they stumble sometimes, they're pushing the industry forward.
Agreed. Their successes and even their failures, those are valuable lessons for everyone in the XR world.
It's a dynamic landscape, constantly changing, and it's companies like Pimax that are helping shape the future of XR.
And what a future it promises to be. For our listeners, this is an amazing time to be following along. We're witnessing the birth of a new medium, and Pimax is right there on the front lines of this technological revolution.
It's true. Whether you're a seasoned VR veteran or just starting to dip your paws into the metaverse, there's never been a more exciting time to explore the magic of virtual reality.
Well said. So we've covered a lot of ground today. Funding, expansion plans, the Dream Air, the Crystal Super, and of course that eyebrow-raising payment model. It's been a perfectly fascinating deep dive into Pimax, a company that's never afraid to take risks and push the boundaries of what's possible in XR.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's been a delightful chat, and I'm sure our listeners are just as eager as we are to see what Pimax does next.
Absolutely. And as always, we encourage everyone to stay curious, stay informed, and keep on exploring the ever-expanding world of XR. Who knows what amazing adventures await us just beyond the horizon.
Until next time, may all your virtual journeys be filled with wonder, excitement, and a healthy dose of feline curiosity.